All right, I am starting the live for the Future Paced Writing System for today, Wednesday, September 15th. And we are talking today. I am starting about a minute early just because I am checking out some of the settings here to make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay, so we're talking today here about shifting the cognitive ratio, which is a psychology term. We are using it, it's used in, emotional intelligence, in emotional social intelligence for, well, I'm going to explain it. We'll start from the beginning. If you have any comments, please put them in there because I want to answer those questions or get the answers for you or have some discussion here, okay? So I'm looking at the comments window. I want to make sure I can see everything that's going on here. So I put in the post details, the description, putting our children in the academic driver's seat. And I'm going to just describe, what I mean by that, okay? The principle shifting the cognitive ratio is really a principle that has to do with a growth mindset, which is being taught by the makers of the Big Life Journal. And I am going to share with you in the comment section a link to their website because I love these guys. They are fabulous. And I actually include their teachings in my program, the Future Paced Writing System. I really believe strongly that all kids, and especially kids that are, struggling academically, need, let's see if I can get it in there. Okay, hopefully you guys can't, there it goes. Okay, there's the link, the Big Life Journal, Growth Mindset for Kids and Teens. These kids need to know that they can grow and learn through hard things, right? Gosh, we all need to know that. I think that as adults, we sometimes struggle with that too. So the talk today, my live today, is pulled from part of the Big Life Journal Teacher's Guide for Kids and Teens. Okay, so here we go. Principle 2, shifting the cognitive ratio. This is really important. So there's a concept in neuropsychology and it's called Hebb's postulate. I'm going to put that in here too. Hebb's postulate, okay? Basically what it means is neuron A is firing close to or often enough with neuron B, the efficiency of firing between the two improves, which means that neurons that fire together wire together, okay? So for practical purposes, it means that in order for us to learn deeply, the more our learners' brains cells, the more their cells fire, they're firing off, the more thoroughly they're wiring together, okay? The problem is that in a lot of classrooms and even into one-to-one sessions, like when we hire tutors one-to-one with our kids when they're struggling, or sometimes they have one-to-one help at school too, or you're in a classroom with like one teacher to 25 or 30 kids. As the teacher, the parent, the tutor, our brains are doing most of the work, right? As we're teaching, as we're tutoring, as we're helping, because we're thinking in our head, okay, so what's the question? What's the prompt the teacher wants them to work from? Okay, how can I help them to think about this? Da, 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 da. Okay. In the meantime, our child is sitting there, or the child is sitting there looking at us. right? Okay, I am totally I just did this the other day, 2 days ago with my 17-year-old who needed to write an essay. Mom, I need your help. And I just did this whole process where I was like thinking, and he's looking at me, Mom, right? So I'm in this. I have done this. Okay. All right. So we are explaining, giving examples, sometimes even answering the questions we are asking. I did this 2 days ago. I did this with my son. But if we want our kids to learn, we need to shift that cognitive ratio and make sure the students are doing the thinking, the explaining, and the reflecting. Okay, which I have to say that in the end, when I got done working with my son Grayson, I did have him sit down with me and I said, okay, do you understand how I came up with this? Let's talk about this. So I hope I redeemed myself at the end. Side note there. Okay, let's consider the ratio of a typical lesson or a life chat with your child or student. Okay, so let's just say you're in a typical homework situation with your kiddo. Okay, are you doing 50% of the work, 75%, 90%? Are they sitting there going, like maybe they're ready? Maybe they're ready to write. And they're like, but are they really thinking through the process, or are they kind of waiting for us to prompt them? Okay. The really cool thing here is it doesn't have to be that big of a shift for them to start really, for those neurons to start firing, intertwining, and for it to start working. Okay. Imagine shifting just 5% back onto the learner. That's enough to strengthen their understanding and to get that process, to get those gears moving in their brain. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, as a parent, I've totally failed. I've screwed my kid up. They're never going to be able to think on their own again. That's not happening. That's not going to happen. Okay. All you have to do is just start shifting that, a little bit of it, back to them by asking some questions. Okay. And we're going to go over that. So, strategies for shifting the ratio. We have 3 of them. Okay. And I'm really excited about this because I actually learned a great deal from this as a parent, as an educator, right? I have 5 kids, by the way. I don't know if I've said that before. I have 5 kids. Most of them are, the youngest is 14, and I have a couple of adult uh, kiddos. So they're all older now, but I know what you're all going through. So just so you know. So strategy 1 for shifting the ratio, pair shares, mini discussions. Okay. Pair shares just means that kids are getting together and sharing information together. Okay, one of the most powerful ways to get neurons firing is to talk about learning. So explaining, predicting, exemplifying a concept. It just uses different parts of the brain when you're explaining something, which strengthens that learning process in the brain. Okay. So if you're talking about pair sharing with kids 1-to-1 or in a group, you can just do it for 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe you have a bunch of kids like me. Maybe you just have 2 or 3. It's homework time. You can just bring up a topic, any topic. It doesn't even have to be about school. Okay. It could be about something social. It could be about something your family is doing together. Maybe you're going to go on a trip. Maybe you're going to go do an activity. Maybe it's something you're struggling with as a family, and it could be a 10 or 15-minute discussion. It's just about getting those neurons firing. Okay. All right. And if you're in a classroom, or if maybe you're homeschoolers, maybe your homeschooler family, you can ask your kiddos to just have a conversation with each other about maybe like what they're working on right in the moment. And it can just be a quick, like 5-minute and maybe give them a couple prompts and just say, hey, just ask each other these questions, answer them. It just starts those neurons, okay? There is an acronym. It's called PEER. I'm going to type this in. I want to make sure you guys have this. Predict, explain, exemplify. So PEER, P-E-E-R, predict what is next. For example, the next obstacle you might face. These are things that a learner can do to think deeply. Sorry. So we're going to predict what is next, for example, the next obstacle you might face, the best action step for accomplishing that goal. Okay. Explain the concept, explain the concept, idea, or process in your own words. Okay. It can also include like thinking out loud. Exemplify, so just giving your own examples of the concept or idea. All right. And then relating. So making connections between the concept and your own life. This is really powerful, folks. This is really powerful because the minute that any of us can relate something from our own lives to the concept that we're learning, boom, we've got it. We're going to remember it. Okay. How is it relevant to you? And that's the minute it sinks in. Okay. Really, really powerful stuff. I'm going to make sure I put this into the comment section by the end so you all have this. Okay. All right. Number 2, follow-up questions. This is another strategy you can do. Shift the cognitive ratio by asking deep follow-up questions. When your child or your students are talking about a concept or giving an answer, the best style of questions are open. What, how, or why? So like when I was working with Grayson a couple nights ago, for example, and I realized that I pretty much, I realized because I'm an educator too, I realized at the end that I had given him, in my attempt to help him, I gave him not answers because it was writing an essay, but I had given him too much. I didn't let him think through writing the essay as much as I should have. At the end, I just stopped him and I pulled him back and I said, let's talk about this for a minute. Did you see how we pulled, or we created that sentence from the question? Can you explain that to me? So that then his brain had to start firing those cells and telling me. And, it took a minute because he hadn't had to do that, right? Because I had done it. But you can save yourself. You can salvage it. Use those follow-up questions to help your student, your child, to really start firing those neurons, okay? If you're in a small group, you can just, you can do the follow-up questions and have them ask each other those questions. Just have it like a short list. And just have them ask each other those questions. And then if it's one-on-one, just have them use open-ended questions. And then just ask them to elaborate. Because, sometimes, kids are so great at yes. Ask them a question, yes. No. I don't know. Aren't they? So we want them to elaborate a little bit. All right. All righty. And strategy number 3 is, this is the last one, visual ratings. So to get students reflecting and to find good follow-up topics, ask learners to give good visual ratings of concepts, okay? The 2 easiest ways are showing a scale of 1 to 10 on their hands, just put them up, or using a thermometer. Say that fast, thermometer. Positioning their thumbs up, down, or sideways. So, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a growth mindset do you have with math classes or concepts? Do you think that you can learn math? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think you can do? And so one would be having a very fixed mindset, which is, I can't learn math. I just can't do it. And 10 being, oh yeah, I can definitely learn math. I'm good at it. And then the other way would be, some people think if you don't set goals, you won't be disappointed by not reaching them. Show me a thumbs up, down, or sideways, whether you agree, disagree, or have mixed thoughts about this. This is a great one for kids who don't like to talk, I think. It gives them a way to communicate, kind of pulls them in, breaks the ice. Okay, and then after posing the visual rating, you can just do a follow-up. You can say, I'm noticing a lot of, say, number sixes. And then you can, to the questions, and then you can just chat with them about why that is. Kind of start asking some additional, like, more probing questions. And then on one-on-one, you can just ask the kids why they rated themselves the way they did. So I hope this is, I really, really hope this is helpful. I found this to be exceptionally helpful for me as a parent and as an educator, which I really love, is that it can apply to both areas of our lives. And just know that as parents, your influence is super, super powerful, right? Your influence. So your influence is powerful academically and also so many ways. And asking a lot of open-ended questions is such a great way to reach our kids. Over time, they will start responding. And just shifting that cognitive ratio is just getting those neurons firing, even at 5% more than what they were before, is enough to get the process started, get it started. So, all right, everybody, I am going to put in the comments the peer and what it means, so you have it. If you come back to this and rewatch it and you have questions, definitely put them in the comment section. I am always coming back and checking to see if there's any comments or questions, and I will get back to you. Please feel free to message me if you're interested in the program. I'd love to talk to you. We're always interested in talking to new students. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.